A millionaire was not allowed to enter an elite bowling club because of his appearance, because of his old worn clothes. They laughed at him, humiliated him, but they all fell silent when he got a super VIP card and it turned out that he was the owner of this golf club. But everything changed when a simple girl who worked as a barmaid did not laugh at him, did not mock him, but just watched silently. The doorman squinted at the figure in the flannel shirt, worn jeans, and dusty boots stepping through the revolving door of Monarch Lanes, Boston's most exclusive private bowling club. It wasn't just a bowling alley, it was a cathedral of polished wood lanes and crystal chandeliers, where CEOs nursed whiskey older than most marriages and influencers posted filtered shots beside rented Rolls-Royces. The man barely cleared the carpet before the gatekeeper stepped in. "Sir," the doorman said, drawing out the word like it tasted wrong. "This entrance is for members only." The man, tall and soft-spoken, glanced up. He had lines around his eyes, the kind that came more from squinting at sunlight than smiling. His beard was neat but graying, and the boots on his feet had seen fields, not Ferragamo. He looked down at the navy blue carpet embroidered with gold thread, members only, EST 1972. Then looked back at the doorman, saying nothing. "I'm going to have to ask you to use the service entrance around back." The doorman continued, louder now, and heads began to turn in the marbled lobby. The hostess glanced over from behind her cherrywood podium, her eyes skating down his clothes and stopping cold. Two young men in sleek blazers snickered as they sipped their bourbon. A woman in red heels leaned into her date and whispered, "Maybe he's lost. Or homeless." The man stood still, his posture easy, his face unreadable. The noise swirled around him like wind against a mountain. He didn't argue. He didn't explain. Instead, he reached into the inside pocket of his flannel shirt, slow, unhurried, and pulled out a small leather wallet. No brand. Just soft, well-worn leather. From it, he slid a card across the doorman's outstretched clipboard. The man in the blazer caught sight of the card and let out a low whistle. "That's the Black Monarch Pass," he muttered. "There's only 6 of those." The doorman stared at the card, his mouth slightly open, before his gaze snapped up, panic coloring his voice. "Sir, I didn't realize." But the man was already moving forward, slipping past the rope with quiet grace, his boots making no sound on the marble floor. The silence left in his wake felt heavier than thunder. At the bar, heads turned again as he passed. This wasn't the man anyone expected. No Rolex. No cologne cloud. Just a man who looked like he'd come from chopping firewood rather than closing deals. A man who looked entirely out of place, until he didn't. The girl behind the counter looked up from polishing glasses. Her name tag said, Maya. Her shirt was 2 sizes too big and her ponytail drooped under the heat of the kitchen behind her. But her eyes were sharp. Curious. She didn't laugh. She didn't whisper. She just watched him with a kind of stillness. He noticed. She turned back to her glass polishing. And so did he. The man walked to lane 1, reserved for owners and founding members, and picked up a ball. No fanfare. No flourish. He rolled. Strike. The noise stopped. Then someone whispered, "That's James R. Halston. He owns this place." The pins had barely settled into their pit when the realization rippled through the lounge like heat off asphalt. James R. Halston. The name spread from mouth to mouth, on whispered breaths, raised brows, dropped jaws. "He owns Monarch Lanes," said one man near the bar, fiddling nervously with his cufflinks. "No, not just this place. Halston Investments. Real estate, tech, aerospace, everything," murmured another, voice almost reverent. But James didn't pause to collect their recognition. He moved calmly, selecting another ball, lining up, and rolling it down the lane with the fluid grace of someone who knew the weight of things: wood, silence, respect. Another strike. Behind him, the silence curdled into embarrassment. The doorman stood rigid by the velvet rope, his eyes locked on the floor. The Blazer boys had slunk into their seats, drinks forgotten. The hostess busied herself with rearranging a stack of already straight menus. Only Maya hadn't moved. She leaned one elbow on the bar and looked at him the way you'd look at a curious page in a library book. She didn't smile. She didn't act impressed. Her face carried the same quiet strength she wore when cleaning up spills or dealing with bachelorette parties who drank too much and tipped too little. When James turned around after his third strike, his eyes swept the room briefly, then stopped on her. He walked over. The bar was nearly empty now, the regulars unsure whether to greet him or disappear. He took the seat farthest from the spotlight, at the corner closest to the kitchen. Maya met him there without a word. "What'll it be?" she asked, her voice even, professional. "Lemonade," he said, glancing up with the ghost of a smile. She raised a brow, surprised, but didn't ask. She pulled a chilled glass from beneath the bar, squeezed a lemon by hand, added a splash of club soda, and slid the drink toward him. No sugar. No umbrella. Just clean and honest. He sipped it. "Perfect. You here to buy the place?" she asked, not flinching. "I already did. 10 years ago." She gave a small nod. "You dress like the dishwasher." James chuckled quietly, his first real sound all evening. "He has better shoes than me." Maya didn't laugh, but she didn't look away either. He studied her for a moment. Her apron was stained near the hip, and her nails were short, practical. She wore no makeup except maybe chapstick, and there was a gentle tiredness under her eyes that made her look older than 23. She reminded him of someone he once knew before life got loud. Before people started calling him, sir, and forgetting how to be real. "I like this seat," he said finally. "Think I'll keep it." "You're the owner," Maya replied, shrugging. "You can sit wherever you want." "No," James said softly. "I mean, I like this seat." Something passed between them then, something quiet but firm as bedrock. And for the first time all night Maya smiled. James came back the next night. Same flannel shirt. Same boots. This time, no one stopped him. The doorman nodded stiffly and held the velvet rope open like it was his own apology. James gave a polite nod but didn't slow down. No smugness. No theatrics. He walked straight to lane 1, bowled 2 warm-up games, strikes like clockwork, then took his usual seat at the corner of the bar. Maya was there. Same apron. Same tired eyes. "You again," she said. He gave her a look like she was the only honest sentence in a world full of sales pitches. "I promised myself lemonade," he said. "And you always keep your promises?" "Only the important ones." Maya poured the drink without asking. She didn't embellish. She didn't flirt. She just worked, moving like someone who didn't waste time on pretending. Around them, the whispers died faster this time. People still watched, but they were more careful now, as if uncertain how to approach him. He was no longer the man to mock. But neither was he the kind of millionaire you could cozy up to. He wasn't interested in networking, didn't care about handshakes or hollow praise. He sat quietly. Sipped. Watched the lanes. And when Maya had a free moment, they talked. Never long conversations. But never small talk either. "What made you buy a bowling alley?" she asked one night, wiping down the counter with slow, circular motions. "My father used to take me every Saturday," James said. "Back before he lost the farm. He taught me how to bowl and how to lose with grace. Said both would matter someday." She nodded. "You grew up on a farm?" "Until I was 15. Then a condo. Then the back seat of a Buick. Rough. Built character." Maya gave a faint smile and turned to refill a pitcher. He watched her closely, not in the way men at the bar sometimes did, but like he was trying to read a language she didn't even know she was speaking. One night, near closing, a man in an expensive navy suit sat down beside James. He didn't introduce himself, just leaned in like they were equals. "Halston, right?" the man said, voice too smooth. "Listen, I've got an idea. A franchise. Luxury lanes. We brand it. You and me. We'll blow this little place out of the water. James looked at him a moment. Then he turned to Maya. What do you think? He asked her. She blinked, caught off guard. Me? Yeah, he said. You've seen more drunk CEOs and broken machines than anyone in here. The man in the suit laughed nervously. I think we should let the professionals handle this. James didn't break eye contact with Maya. She looked at the man in the suit, then back at James. I think, if someone calls this place little, they've never mopped puke at midnight or seen a grandfather teach his grandson to bowl. James smiled. A real one. The man in the suit stood, mumbled something, and left. James finished his lemonade. Maya watched him push the glass forward. Same time tomorrow? She asked. If you'll have me. Thursday night brought rain. The kind that doesn't just fall, it presses down, soaks through denim and soul alike. But just after 8, James walked in, shaking droplets from his shoulders, his flannel darker at the seams. Maya handed him a clean towel before he even Saturday. You'll ruin the bar, she said, but her voice had a softness to it now. Wouldn't dream of it, James replied. The lanes were quieter tonight. Just a few league regulars and a birthday party winding down at lane 6. James skipped bowling this time. Just took his seat, stretched his hands on the counter, and watched the reflections of pin lights dance in his lemonade. Maya worked the register in short bursts, always circling back. They didn't talk much at first. Some people think silence between two people is awkward. But this wasn't that. This was something else, something patient and rare. After a while, James pulled a folded envelope from his shirt pocket. What's that? Maya asked, drying a glass. Old offer letter, he said, placing it gently on the bar. From the day I bought this place. I kept it. Don't know why. She picked it up, reading the faded ink. It was a simple one-pager. Short terms. No fanfare. You paid cash, she said. I had to. The bank didn't see the vision. And what was the vision? James looked toward the lanes. A father was teaching his daughter how to keep score by hand. Something that wouldn't disappear when apps changed. Maya watched the father-daughter pair, then folded the letter and slid it back. Things that stay, she murmured. He looked at her then, longer than usual. What about you? He asked. What makes you stay? She hesitated, eyes flicking to the register. Rent's due. My mom's meds. My brother's tuition. Pick one. James nodded. Didn't pry. Maya didn't want sympathy. She wanted the world to stay honest. And that's why he kept coming back. Because she didn't try to dress her pain up or down. She wore it like her apron, quiet, necessary, and not up for discussion. That night, James left a folded note with his tab. She found it only after he was gone. It said, People like us don't always choose the lanes. But we roll straight anyway. Saturday night, the club was packed. It was charity gala night, rented tuxedos, rented grins. Jazz quartet in the corner, champagne fountains flowing like something out of a Gatsby dream. The kind of night where tips went up but dignity usually went down. Maya tied on her cleanest apron and tightened her ponytail twice. She hated these events. Too many fake hellos, too many hands that wandered, and always someone asking her if she was on the menu. She braced herself like she did before every storm. James didn't come at 8. Didn't come at 9. By 10, she figured maybe he'd seen the flyer and decided against it. This wasn't his kind of night. Then, just after 10:30, the door opened. No flannel this time. No boots. James walked in wearing a gray sport coat and a soft blue shirt, open at the collar, no tie. Still no watch. Still no flash. Just the quiet, solid calm he carried like a coat of its own. No one recognized him. At least, not right away. He drifted through the crowd like smoke, stopping here and there to nod politely. People smiled at him vaguely, as if he were some underdressed vendor. The gala organizers were too busy fawning over tech investors to notice that the man who paid for the entire remodel of the building 2 years ago was sipping lemonade by the service door. He found Maya behind the bar, flustered and flushed from carrying 3 trays at once. "You clean up nice," she said without looking up. "So do you," he replied. She looked at him. Her eyes flickered, first surprised, then something softer. "Didn't think you liked crowds?" "I don't," he said. "But I like storm windows." Maya blinked. "What?" James leaned in slightly, voice low. "You know that feeling before a storm breaks? The quiet pressure? That's what these nights feel like to me. A storm window. Just waiting to shatter." Maya stared at him for a second, then laughed. A real one this time, short, rough around the edges, but honest. "You're weird," she said. "Maybe. And kind of poetic." James tilted his glass toward her. "Only on Saturdays." Just then, a drunk hedge funder stumbled up to the bar, elbowed James aside, and barked, "Another Negroni, sweetheart, and be quick about it." James took a step back. Maya didn't flinch. She poured the drink, slid it over, and said nothing. But James saw her jaw tighten. The man tossed a $5 bill on the counter and winked at her. Then he turned to James and muttered, "You lost, pal?" James smiled calmly. "No. Just watching the storm roll in." The man looked confused, then staggered away. Maya shook her head. "You didn't have to do that." "I know." They stood there a moment longer, the music warbling behind them, the glittering chaos of the night pressing at the windows. But at that bar, in that small quiet corner, something had shifted. And both of them felt it. The last guest stumbled out around 1:15 a.m. The jazz quartet had long since packed up, and the bartenders were stacking glasses in the echoing quiet. The night had peeled away its glamour, leaving sticky floors, smeared mirrors, and the worn-out hum of exhaustion. Maya wiped down the bar, her motions slower now, shoulders tight. Her feet ached in her worn sneakers, and she still had to mop the back hallway before she could go home. She was scrubbing a pink cocktail ring off the counter when she felt a quiet presence nearby. James stood by the bar, no drink in hand this time, just a dish towel slung over his shoulder like he'd been doing it all his life. "You really don't sleep, do you?" she asked. He smiled. "Not when there's work to do." She tossed him a rag without a word. He caught it and started drying glasses beside her, slow and steady. There was something deeply unassuming about the way he did it. No performance, no pretense. Just a man drying glasses at a bar he owned but never tried to own her part of. They worked in silence for a while. "You ever miss it?" she asked eventually. "Miss what?" "The world you came from. Boardrooms. Jets. People calling you sir like it means something." He paused, running a clean cloth over a rocks glass. "Sometimes," he said quietly. "But mostly, no. That world moves too fast. And no one really sees each other. Not unless there's something to gain." She looked at him then, eyes searching. "Why here, though?" she asked. "Out of all the businesses you could buy. Why this little alley full of leaky pipes and broken machines?" James set the glass down carefully. His voice was soft, almost reverent. "Because I used to come to places like this when I had nothing. And the people here, cashiers, janitors, single moms, they held the world together while no one watched. I guess I wanted to build a place that didn't forget that." Maya didn't speak. She just looked at him, really looked. This man, who could have been anywhere in the world, was here drying glasses in the small hours of a Sunday morning beside a woman with calloused hands and too many responsibilities. And he meant it. She passed him another glass. He took it without a word. And together, in that quiet glow after the lights had dimmed, they finished cleaning the bar. Monday morning brought a sharp chill that crept through the alleyways behind Monarch Lanes, threading its way through the service door Maya always used. She arrived early, long before opening, her breath a faint cloud as she slipped inside. The place felt different when it was empty, like walking into the memory of something instead of the thing itself. No lights, no laughter. Just the scent of Lane oil and lemon cleaner, and the low mechanical hum of the old pinsettas waking up. She was halfway through prepping the bar when she heard it. A thud. Then a groan. Then the telltale metallic screech of Lane 4 seizing up. Again? She muttered, grabbing her rag and heading toward the back, already anticipating the mess. That Lane had been temperamental for months. She'd reported it 3 times. The maintenance guy kept saying it needed a full replacement. No one ever got around to it. But when she rounded the corner, she didn't find the machine sputtering alone. James was there, down on one knee in his jeans again, the blazer traded for the flannel like the weekend hadn't happened. Grease smudged his forearm. His hands were deep in the old machine, coaxing it with the kind of care usually reserved for old dogs or childhood friends. "You fix these things too?" Maya asked, surprised. "Once upon a time," he said without looking up. "Used to take apart every broken appliance we had. Couldn't afford new ones." She watched him for a moment. "Most owners would just write a check." "I did," he said. "But I hate waiting for people who don't show." There was no bitterness in his tone, just quiet resolve. He wiped his hands on a towel, adjusted something deep in the belly of the machine, then stood. Pressed a button. The machine whirred, sputtered, then clicked back to life. "Magic," Maya said, half teasing. "Nope," James replied. "Just patience and a little grease." She handed him her towel, and he accepted it without fuss. "Why are you really here?" she asked, the question slipping out before she could stop it. "I mean, not just the club. Here. With me. Every night." James studied her, the weight of that question hanging between them like a pulled arrow. "I've spent a long time surrounded by people who want things from me. Who smile when I lose and disappear when I win. But you..." He paused. "You don't want anything." Maya shrugged. "That's not true. I want the machine to stop breaking. I want rent to go down. I want people to stop assuming the girl behind the bar doesn't matter." He stepped closer. "That's the difference," he said. "You want things to work. Not just for you." A silence settled between them. It wasn't romance. Not yet. It wasn't fireworks or grand gestures. It was steadier than that. It was 2 people who knew what broken things felt like. And who understood the quiet strength it took to fix them. It was Thursday when the letter came. Folded crisp and hand-delivered, it arrived in a plain white envelope with no return address, just Maya's name scrawled in looping pen. She found it taped beneath the bar register after her shift, tucked quietly where no one else would see. She hesitated before opening it, glancing toward Lane 1. James wasn't there tonight. First time in 2 weeks. The seat sat empty, his usual glass of lemonade nowhere in sight. Her fingers worked the seal open slowly. Inside, a single sheet of paper. "Maya, I've been watching how this place works, and how much of that is because of you. If you're willing, I'd like to offer you the position of general manager at Monarch Lanes. Full salary. Health coverage. Creative control over staff and community programs. I believe in building from the inside out. And you're what the inside looks like when it's right. Take a few days. No pressure. J." She read it twice. Then a third time. Her hands were trembling by the end. Not because of the title. Not even the money. But because someone had seen her. Not just tolerated her. Not just thanked her for refilling drinks or showing up early or fixing the busted soda tap with a spoon handle and duct tape. But really seen her. Still, she folded the letter carefully and slid it back into the envelope, heart racing, feet unmoving. That night, when she stepped outside into the cool air, she half expected to find James leaning on the hood of some rusted truck, waiting like he always did, not to push, but just to be there. But he wasn't. Just a quiet sidewalk and a sky full of indifferent stars. The next day passed slowly. Every time the front door opened, her chest tightened. By Saturday night, the silence felt heavier than usual. She finally asked Carl, the daytime cook, "You seen James lately?" Carl shrugged. He's out of town. Said something about a funeral in Vermont. Old friend or cousin? Quiet guy. Maya nodded, pretending that the knot in her stomach was just late-night hunger. But something told her it wasn't. She went back behind the bar and reached for the envelope again. Held it in both hands. She still hadn't decided. But the empty chair at the corner of the bar felt like a question waiting to be answered. Sunday evening, Monarch Lanes was quiet again. No galas, no league tournaments, just the regulars, the retirees, the couples on awkward first dates. Maya stood behind the bar, watching Lane 1. Still empty. She'd carried the envelope in her back pocket all day. Worn soft now, the corners curled. Every time she reached for her lighter or a rag, she felt its shape against her hip. A quiet weight. She'd gone back and forth 100 times. She didn't want to manage anyone. She didn't want to fail. She didn't want to become the thing she'd always worked beneath. But she also didn't want to scrub sticky floors forever. And the thought that someone trusted her with more? That they saw her? It changed things. It made her look at the place differently. Like maybe, just maybe, it could be hers too. That night, near closing, the front door opened. James walked in. No flannel. No blazer. Just a navy sweatshirt and jeans, travel-wrinkled, tired around the eyes. He looked like he hadn't slept much. His beard was a little longer. His shoulders carried something heavier than usual. He took his usual seat. Maya poured his lemonade before he asked. Vermont? He nodded. Old friend. Past sudden. Reminded me what matters. She placed the glass down gently. I got your letter. He didn't react. Just sipped his drink, eyes steady on hers. Too much? No, she said quietly. Just unexpected. She leaned on the bar then, elbows on the wood. You really think I can do it? He didn't flinch. I know you can. You've been doing it for years. Just without the title. Maya looked down at the bar, at the scars in the wood she knew by touch. I don't want it to change me. It won't, he said. But it might let you change this. He nodded toward the lanes. Toward the mop closet that flooded when it rained. Toward the night shift kid who kept quitting because he got stiffed on hours. Maya looked back at him. There wasn't a speech in his eyes. Just belief. Just trust. She reached into her back pocket, pulled out the envelope, and slid it across the bar. I'll do it, she said. A pause. Then, quietly, like something fragile being named out loud. But only if you promise not to stop coming to this seat. James smiled. Not wide. But real. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Spring came late that year. The kind of cold that clings to April mornings stretched longer than usual, but inside Monarch Lanes, something warmer had taken root. The walls still smelled faintly of polish and popcorn. The floors still creaked in the same places. But the rhythm of the place had changed. It started in small ways. Maya swapped the flickering bulbs in the hallway for soft, golden ones. She put fresh plants by the windows, nothing fancy, just ivy and peace lilies that wouldn't die on her. She added a community board near the entrance. People started pinning things: lost cat notices, poetry nights, an ad for a local kid's guitar lessons. The regulars noticed. Then the staff did. Carl the cook got a raise. The shy kid at the register got steady hours and a new headset that actually worked. The broken vending machine was finally hauled away. And Lane 4? It rolled smooth now, humming like something reborn. Maya never sat in the office too long. She made it clear, she'd wear the title, but she wasn't about to disappear behind a glass door. Most nights she was still behind the bar, ponytail loose, shirt sleeves rolled, refilling sodas and asking about people's days. And James? He came every Thursday. Always the same seat. Sometimes flannel, sometimes not. Always that same quiet calm. They didn't talk about them, not at first. But it was there, between the lines. In the way she saved his seat without asking. In the way he left little folded notes tucked behind the bar. Don't forget to eat. You're doing good work. This place shines because you do. And one day, months later, a man in a tailored suit came in waving blueprints. He spoke fast, all charm and teeth. Franchise expansion. 10 new monarchs in the next year. Miami. Dallas. Vegas. We take the brand global. Maya listened. Then she shook her head. No, she said. This isn't a brand. It's a place. The man looked confused. She didn't explain. Just thanked him and sent him off with a free drink and a quiet goodbye. That night, as she locked the doors, James stood beside her, hands in his pockets. You sure? He asked. She looked at the lanes, at the lights dimmed low, at the ivy curling by the windows. Yeah, she said. Let other people build empires. I'll keep this corner of the world real. He nodded. They stood there a while, the quiet between them soft as dawn. It wasn't a fairy tale. It was better. It was earned. It was two people choosing the small things that matter, again and again, because that's how real stories are written. And that's how they stay.